Hello everybody, welcome to another edition of the Seercast. I am Knight of Knee, and with me here is Robo Hobo.
Hello.
Orange.
Hello.
Geena.
Oh, hi.
Gina's also taking care of other matters at the moment, so maybe AFK-ish. And Kitten.
Hello.
With Walter in the chat, as usual. For this edition of the Seercast, we are going to be covering the goings-on in RuneScape in June, and the upcoming events that are happening in July. There's a lot of big stuff coming up. There's a lot of not so big stuff that happened in June, but a lot of it ties into lore aspects, and there's a lot of lore story development that's going on with the various podcasts that Jagex has been doing, as well as the campfires, and a couple of the BTS videos have been even specifically devoted to the lore. So we're just going to go ahead and get right on into June's updates. God damn it. My phone just goes off. Going on into June's updates, the first one is the Order of Ascension. I'm going to come back to that in just a moment because the other June updates are kind of like, whatever. For the first one we'll mention here is the Triskelion Treasures. It was an update to the treasure trails.
And Jesus Christ, the drops are rare. Apparently, I've never seen one.
Are they? Because they said that they were going to be, like, better. Or is it just the overall better?
I think just overall better, because there's only been, like, I've never seen them. Some people have said they've only seen one or two since the update. And
wow. Walter says 12k Jadinkos for 3 keys. So, and 4 to 6 million thieving XP for 3 keys. And yeah, by 3 keys we mean 3 parts to the key.
Oh, wow.
Or 3 key parts. So 1 key in a shitload of Jadinkos.
Too much.
It's like halfway down.
Well, I mean, and the drops are better, and then they revamped the normal treasure trails with, not the treasure trails, the crystal key with that. Sorry, I'm getting the things mixed up. It's not a revamp of the treasure trails, it's a revamp of the crystal key thing, and just, okay. Anyways, there isn't really much to say about that other than that it's kind of rare.
There is one thing I want to say about it.
Oh, go on.
While it is extremely rare for other parts, Walter pointed out that Virago actually drops the complete key.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, it's uninstructed.
Well, that's nice, but the problem is killing Virago.
Sucks. He went and he sucks. Minions are worse. Yeah,
we will get to that in just a moment as well. In between that, we have the tool belt. Okay, that they updated that to include pickaxes and hatchets up to dragon. It does destroy them forever, but they can never be lost. So I guess that's good. I put my dragon hatchet on there. I don't own a dragon pick anymore, so I don't put that on there.
I like how everyone knew that they wouldn't have gilded pickaxes at first on release. Like, I saw multiple threads saying, don't forget to add them.
That screwed me over.
Yeah, and they still didn't have them. But,
yeah.
Oh well. And yeah, and Walter says, the dragon pick that you added to the tool belt, it won't work on dills. So in the Elder Kiln, in the quest itself, it got added to, or it's in the Dominion Tower as well. So in those 3 places, dragon pick will not work, which is needing to be fixed. You better be willing to get another one. Oh boy. How about no?
Good thing I didn't go and get all that stuff.
Yeah. Also, there were more lodestones that I haven't gotten yet. That's enough of that. And player feedback that other players promptly whined about. I really liked how it was a player feedback update, and then the forums were like, who was the idiot that suggested this?
Yeah, especially with Calphite King, because now the minions as a collective are more damaging than the Calphite King himself.
Yeah, well,
it's annoying.
I like Walter's note in the thread. Raptor dying to brutal green dragons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm not impressed.
No, now he's like super overpowered. He one hits the Khazard guard and stuff like that. That's all I've seen him do.
Yeah, I mean they did need to make some of those Slayer critters more difficult though, because being able to 2-shot or even 1-shot a living rock critter, that's considering they had like 6k health before the update or before the before EOC, and now they still only have like 5k health. It was.
Yeah, I mean, some of the buffs are a start, but I haven't noticed too huge of a change on most of the monsters that they apparently fixed.
Yeah.
They have a long ways to go, but.
Well, they were saying they did something with Dust Devils too, and those were apparently ridiculously easy to kill.
Yeah.
Those were not too bad before EOC.
They changed Grotworms as well, but I don't know what they're like before the buff, but after the buff they still weren't hard at all, and yet people were complaining around me saying that they're too buffed.
Yeah.
So,
well,
they must have been ridiculously easy.
And Geena temp DC'd. Okay. Yeah, and Walter says that it is a little bit more annoying to mine in the Living Rock Caverns now. That's true, same with fishing, but it's not terribly different, since a lot of people just kind of world hop next to that one gold mine at the very bottom southern part. Anyway.
Oh yeah, people can do that.
Yeah, you don't really. Yeah, so just don't use the lava mining suit is about right. But yeah, so that's all the player feedback stuff. I mean, there's not a whole lot there. Virago, which we mentioned just a few minutes ago, that is a rather difficult boss. It is the next generation of Chris L bosses, and players all across the world got 5th staged. Kitten, why don't you explain this to us?
Oh, okay. Well, we're going kind of by stuff that happened with Darden twice. Because every time they got to 5th stage, the world just DC'd.
The entire world. Not just the group. The entire world.
Yeah, there were a few that, like, I can kind of say, well, yeah, there was a team that was getting to stage 5 on that world, which later DC'd. Just a couple times. That was interesting.
Yeah, the server instability and stuff that apparently came along with that update was kind of legendary. Because coupled with the fact that it's so hard to kill him to begin with. After I'm pretty sure Walter was the one paying attention to the number of total kills that actually went through, like number of drops that were gotten on Virago, and the number was 0 after 12 hours?
Dang. I have to say though, some of his animations are really fun to do.
Yeah, he confirms it was like 8 to 12 hours that there were no kills, none whatsoever.
Just posted some of the pictures of me doing the jump thing at the beginning.
Nice. I'll add some of these in to the first bunch. Was this during R? This wasn't during our run at it. I actually went and I actually tried my hand at it within a clan mass-ish thing, and of course we all died relatively quickly, but
yeah, I tried it too. It's mostly, like, my only issue is just that the minions like being next to each other, and then they just kind of death dot, and you get spammed with damage unless you barricade. Even then, you run out of time. Yeah, stage 4 doesn't look too bad. It's just, can you click on the corner of the map or not?
Mm-hmm.
I've never even gotten to stage 3. I haven't been there that much, though.
Yeah, we got to stage 2, almost to stage 3, I think, in the run that we did, and then we all just kind of fell like flies. But yeah, I mean it's a hell of a lot of work for some good mage gear, and well, yeah, I would love it. No, I can't afford it, and no, I'm never going to be able to afford it. So, oh well.
Well, at least this week is confirmed to be the most difficult rotation, so it'll be easier. So.
Oh yeah, that's true too. That Chris L was mentioning how it's actually a rotational kind of boss where the stage itself changes, which definitely makes it interesting because you're going to see people relearning it week after week.
I wonder how long it'll go on, or if it's just like a monthly thing.
I think he said it was a 4-week. He had 4 different stages of it. I'm not sure though. He said it in the BTS. I'm pretty sure. I can't remember exactly what it was. Anyways, yeah. So Virago is interesting. Finally, they put mage. They uncap the mage spells, so they actually kind of deal damage more like Drygores now. But yeah, so there wasn't a whole lot lore based with Virago. He referenced the living rock critters and the Anima Mundi a little bit, I think. Before we go on a little bit, Walter says, any opinions on the XP nerf at day reset after Virago for all Slayer XP, 5% less, hidden? Anybody notice that?
Might cut out, but it's for Slayer XP, minus 5%. Well, I didn't notice it, but I don't know, I mean, it happened.
Yeah. Maybe it is just it happened. Oh well. Okay, so none of us have any opinions on that. I'm going to go back to the Order of Ascension, because there is a significant amount of lore regarding this. This update is the Range Slayer dungeon that promptly got put on a lot of people's block lists. It has what I can't remember the exact mechanic of it. It's that the critters drop keys, which are tradable, and you use the keys to get into the boss room, which has a chance of dropping a piece of the Ascension crossbow.
Yep.
And and there are lore noob papers that drop throughout everything. There are 21 of them?
I think so.
And
like
that paints a very interesting picture. I can't remember exactly what it all said, but I'm pretty sure one of you would. So,
well, it starts at the time, the end of the God Wars, and the author of it, which is Okellis. It doesn't seem like it at first, though, but he writes about how Guthix wanted him to
spoiler alert.
Make it so. Oh no.
No, go on.
He wants to make sure no one worships Guthix and tries to make a breed of humans that don't worship any gods. And in doing so, he has some troubles with that. Like, even though he tells him not to worship, they instead worshipped him at first and told him not to. And then he tried creating a breed of demons mixed with humans because he thought humans were intrinsic to worship. And they still worship stuff. And it just keeps going and going until eventually he creates this extremely powerful race that is trying to recreate Guthix because Guthix died and they're trying to make a robot version. Not a robot version.
Oh yeah, they have there's a big statue of him down there, and they're trying to harness the power of, I can't remember what it was like crystals or essence or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it gets pretty weird in the book. It's just like, he was against worship, and then instead he just went to brute strength.
Oh yeah, and
You know,
Celis he was a guardian of Guthix to begin
Yeah,
with. And he's kind of the fallen guardian at this point. Then then led an army to steal tears from Juna because he wanted, I can't remember the exact reaning.
I think it was just to create more powerful monsters.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of Guthix, what are you doing? But I mean, we discussed this actually in the majority of us discussed this on Skype right after the last podcast. I think we all kind of came to the conclusion that Celis is a demon, so he thinks like a demon. He thinks in absolutes, in logic, like his logical brain is that of absolutes. Like there is no, like, it's not, and you kind of do what you're told, and there's no open-mindedness, he's thinking not as a human would, which is not exactly what was intended. And yeah.
The funniest part about it, I'd have to say, is at the very end when you collect all the notes, you can bring the notes to him, and then, you accuse of him being the one who created the monsters in the first place, and there's yeah. And then he goes on about now he wants to create a race or something that worships him, because it's impossible to make a race that doesn't worship any gods, so instead he's going to have them worship him.
He gave up, and he's like, okay, now it's time, now I'm your god, or I'm your leader, or I'm your whatever.
Yeah, I can't make you not worship God, so now you'll have to answer to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that place is in general, that place is just kind of messed up with regards to I guess the morality of that lore. But yeah, I mean that was just, some of that stuff was just like what what is this? Yeah, it's an interesting dungeon. It's an interesting concept to get the weapon itself. I think we're all kind of in agreement that it's a little bit more difficult than it should be, but...
Oh yeah, another thing about it, an interesting thing about the Ascension crossbow is that it works like next year in the God Wars dungeon, that none of the factions will attack you if you have it.
Really? Is that...
Yeah.
That's intended?
Yeah, some JMODs are talking about it, and yes, they talk to the lore people there, and it is intended.
Well, okay. I would like to hear a reasoning if somebody has one for it, because that seems kind of odd.
I suppose it's because since they're like anti-god, or maybe, well, it's a Guthix item, essentially. Well, not a correct Guthix item, but it's intended to be. Maybe it's just like Guthix is the same as Zeros, and the fact that he's a lot powerful than all the other factions.
I guess that's true. I can see that.
Either that, or it's such a god weapon that all of the god followers are scared of it.
Maybe. I doubt that, but I guess it's possible.
It's crossbow or we're getting an upgrade, I think that would be a good item to use.
Mm-hmm. Alright, if anybody has anything else to mention about the Order of Ascension, or unless anybody has anything else that I need to mention about it.
Haven't tried any of the bosses, but apparently they're just all about running.
Pretty much.
I guess we'll mention that in a minute, Walter. But yeah, it does. Yeah, I haven't heard that they're terribly difficult. It is a social slayer thing, so there's some interesting mechanics with the slayer critters that are useful for that. But yeah, okay. Anyways, moving on. That was basically what happened in June and the first week of July, because Virago was actually released just a few days ago. And in the future, we've got two major things that are pretty much we have release dates for them. Bringing Home the Bacon, the new bacon quest that is just, it just seems silly. The entire thing, that's being released this week. Oh, the bacon puns, the bacon discussions, oh dear.
Lime's rage.
Yeah, Lime's poor Lime. But yeah, it's just a silly quest with a bunch of piggy rewards, 3 new summoning familiars or something, and a pet that does stuff.
Those pigs are actually pretty cool. Armored pigs.
Well, I mean, whatever works. Also, kind of the rather important update this month is that RuneScape 3 is being officially released on July 22nd, barring some explosion or meteor strike or something. Along with it comes the first of a wave of world events. In this case, it's the Battle of Lumbridge, all of which we will be talking about next time. We're going to be holding a podcast probably like the Tuesday or Wednesday immediately thereafter. So like on the 23rd or 24th, maybe 25th. It will not be before will not be after. It will not wait until the weekend. We will be talking about RuneScape 3, the world events, and maybe a couple little afterthoughts with the things that have happened in between. That will happen. That's when we're going to talk about RuneScape 3. It is officially announced. It's going to be awesome. Stay tuned for that. But anyways, moving along, we do have several lore-related events that have happened in the last month. There are 2 podcasts. One was about Slisky, and the other one was about the dwarves. The dwarves, of course, being of the new quest series, or not the new quest series. The finale was voted on, and the dwarves are going to be it, and it seems like that's going to be within the next few months.
Yep.
Slisky already has a quest that seems to be basically complete, with small tweaks being made based on the world event.
Like, the graphics still need to be made for it. It's pretty much in the blue block stage, blue block. It also has substitute dialogue.
What? No critical path is done? Nothing. Oh, okay, I got it.
So what I think he means by substitute dialogue is they just have some really random dialogue in place of what they would actually say for now, like Sleesky is saying something.
Yeah, like it's all storyboarded out. They know exactly what's going to happen, or they know what's going to happen with the exception of any kind of changes that happen from the world event, and they probably have that kind of mapped out as well. Since the world event is going to be driven by player feedback, player choices rather.
Yeah, they were both going to be Zeros lines, so they're already pre-writing the dialogue for it.
Yeah. And so yeah, they have that. That was a key part of that podcast, but the entire podcast was about Slisky and the stuff the questions that we had about him. We'll talk a little bit more about that with regards to the campfires, because the campfires seems to expand on this a lot. The quest is missing presumed death, so that will be out. I think they said that was going to be the first major 6th age quest, which means soon-ish. Maybe late August, early September, hopefully.
Yeah, you said definitely this year.
Hi, Gina spam. Gina's spamming the chat.
So, did you see my theory on what I think the quest will be about?
No, I have not.
Well, I based it on what Orange told me about the podcast, since I wasn't able to watch it myself. And he'd said about how the Sleece guy actually trusts the player more than anyone else in Gelnor, even more than himself. And
yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I heard that, and I was like, I can see that though.
He also said that the clan is one that Sleasley would hate the most if he hates anyone at all. Like, just troll-wise, he's the one that he'd troll the clan more than anyone else. And lastly, I think it was, he said that, what was it? I'm trying to remember. Well, basically, that the player is a very big part of the game. Like, he's the catalyst for everything that happens in the year 169, and Sleasley admires this because without the player, Gillen will be pretty boring for Sleasley right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with us around, he gets to have some fun. And so, put all that stuff together alongside the moon missing, presumed death, and the fact that it's going to involve the underworld, although now that I think about it, I don't think we're actually going to go there. At first I did. But I thought we might be going to the underworld in this quest, and the way we're going to get there is that Susuke is going to kill us.
I can see that, yeah.
He would do it in such a way that the player would think that we're against him, he's against us, and that we're trying to get back at Susuke. And so while in the underworld, we find out the only way to get out of the underworld and back to life is to do some things that a clan would really hate.
To basically troll Laren. Yeah.
Pretty much. So we have to do all this stuff. Once you get back alive, we're like, haha, Susuke made it out of the trap. And that's actually what he wanted us to do. And all along we were helping Susuke by trolling the clan and coming back to life.
Pretty interesting.
And Geena would approve.
That seems like Susuke, doesn't it? I mean, if he wants their help, he's not going to ask for it directly.
Yeah. He's always the kind of shady, shadowy, you don't know his intentions, so he's never going to ask you explicitly to do anything, but he's going to kind of push you along in his own way to make you do what he wants.
Yeah.
I don't know, it'll be interesting. Better, Geena says it'll be better than Aaron running for the Majoran again. I agree.
Basically.
And also to elaborate on what I meant, how Susuke trusts us in this, I don't think that means a friendship trust, but that the player is so predictable and Susuke knows our every move and everything about us that he knows exactly what we'll do and that there's no possible way that we'll do something he won't expect. So
trustworthy in the sense of predictable, yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah, okay. So they mentioned, so that was the Slisky podcast. Also, they had the podcast on the dwarves, where they did some interesting stuff about that. They said some interesting stuff about the dwarves. It is hopefully going to come with a full graphical rework of the dwarves and a retouching of Keldegrim, which is so unbelievably badly needed. I mean, if you're not going to give it a full revamp, okay, whatever. But it's got to be retouched. It is so outdated.
Yeah.
The dwarves are simple people.
Yeah. Still outdated. Graphics too simple. But yeah, it's called, the dwarf finale's name is going to be called Birthright of the Dwarves. And John A. mentioned that he wanted to keep the of the dwarves or of the dwarf as an ending of the name. So that was interesting. Apparently it was an off the cuff name because he just had to come up with one. We're going to be taking the fight to the Red Axe. A bunch of dwarf cameos. Red Axe will be defeated because it is the finale. And apparently there's going to be a more Zamarakian option to slightly change the ending, but it will still end up defeating the Red Axe because the gods are important, and yeah, it'll be interesting.
It'll be fun to play through that.
Yeah, it should be. They said this one was the combat related one too, so there may be a boss that could be worth getting worked up over, but
make the hand cannon useful.
Oh yeah,
you saw that player design competition.
Yeah, I didn't. Have they released something about that yet?
Well, it's just that they want a character to be the leader of the Chaos Druids, and then they want someone else to design a boss that drops the dragon. What was it?
Dragon throwing axe, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thrown axes. Yeah, they mentioned that there was going to be a new dragon weapon, but I didn't follow up and check what that was. So it'll be a dragon thrown axe, implying anybody uses thrown axes.
Well, I do use thrown arms. I like my Blister Woods takes, but they're level 60, so who cares?
I guess. Yeah, I guess they could be useful for, I don't know what. Maybe they'll have some nice special ability that'll make them reasonably useful on something. Maybe other dwarves. Yes. I don't know.
Since Lime isn't here, I'll just say it for him, but hopefully that boss monster ends up being the pink dragon.
I saw what you're talking about in that in the chat last night, but I was completely lost. I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. The reason why we want it to be a pink dragon is because all throughout the dwarf series, there have been like a few, maybe even several mentions of pink dragons. Like the dwarves are just like hallucinating and seeing pink dragons. They think that they're steel dragons mixed with red dragons or something.
Interesting.
They're drunk dwarves, so it'd be kind of funny if they're actually serious and there actually were pink dragons.
That would actually be funny.
The first time you hear about them is from the dwarves right outside the boat when you first enter Kerrigan. They're talking about how they saw some pink dragons or something.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Not gonna lie.
Dragons,
yeah,
dragons.
Or it's just a pig and someone was drunk.
Yeah. That's also probably likely. Something I did find interesting is that they talked at length about Braska Prime. I was just like, what?
Yeah. Of
course it was Fusswell who posted the question, and to that I'm just like, really? But, yeah, there's apparently a reference to Braska Prime in an upcoming quest, and they were mentioning, because there is kind of like a faux uproar over the fact that Braska Prime wasn't included in the emissaries. There's going to be some more representation or something. It's just like, come on.
Yeah, hopefully, I just hope he doesn't actually become a faction, because that'd actually be where he might win.
Yeah, that's so stupid. It'd be so dumb. Like, oh my god. But yeah, and one more thing before we move on. This would kind of tie us into some of the other quests and lore stuff. The Imkando dwarves are confirmed to be the descendants of the Ceradominus dwarves during the God Wars, which is interesting, because you'd think of dwarves as pretty purely secular, and they discuss this in the podcast. But there are factions that do other things. So yeah, that's just an interesting thing.
Yeah. It's nice to hear about the Imkando again, because
yeah, Thurgo's all alone by himself at this point.
Yeah.
Well, there is one of them.
Oh yeah, the other guy, but Thurgo's the only one we can really talk to right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Walter says even Osborne didn't know that they were from the Ceradomin ones. GG Osborne. Along that note, we're gonna move right along into the RuneScape 3 campfire. They talked a little bit about divination and like the relationship between that and other skills. It'll be similar to like fishing and mining, where it's a gathering skill, but it's quote unquote far more than just the gathering skill. And there will be relationships between divination and other skills, so some rewards will require levels in other skills. The divination, I'm not sure whether we talked about this in the last podcast, but divination is slated to come out shortly after RuneScape 3, so maybe late August, early September as well.
They said a few weeks or so.
Yeah, so looking at late August probably.
Next month sometime.
Which would be nice, certainly. they confirmed a Black Knight's Fortress rework in the first new six-stage quest, which is going to be Sir Owen's quest, like, without a doubt. So it seems like of the next two quests guaranteed are the Bacon and then the Sir Owen quest, and then after that we get the Slisky quest. I think I mentioned that earlier in the podcast, but in case anybody missed it, that's pretty much confirmed at this point. This is an interesting one, though. There are plans in the distant future to stretch the world map to increase the distance between the areas to accommodate for HTML5 draw distances.
Oh, they did say that?
Yep.
Yeah, that would be kind of nice, just because it's weird. Well, I mean, it's not necessarily weird, it's just odd being able to see a lot of places just from one location.
I mean, it's interesting. It's nice to be able to see that, like, see over land, like,
yeah.
But over the water is where things get weird. When you can see, like, half of Karamja from the Feldip Hills, like, what?
Yeah.
Or, better yet, you can see all of Crandor from, like, where's I can't even think, the Wizard's Tower. Like, what?
It's funny when you remember that no one can actually sail to Crandor because it's too impossible.
Yeah, I mean, that does kind of break the lore that Crandor is like, oh hey, it's right there. So yeah, stretching the world map, I don't know how they would do this. It seems...
You're just going to duplicate land.
Because it's not just like you randomly stretch it and then... Because then if you just universally just stretch it, well then the distances between places get long. And they don't particularly want that. Although that would create more stuff for them to put in other things, but that would be a logistical nightmare for them to do. Maybe just stretch the water, move the islands, do something. I don't know. I
think the biggest change would be to dungeons mostly, because it's like, especially dungeons and Runespan. Just you don't want to see stuff that's supposed to be below you right next to you.
Yeah,
the worst of that is that you can see Guthix's homeworld while you're talking to Guthix before you even go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that too. Or it was just like, but I mean, I mentioned this in the beta podcast we did back in, I think it was April, where I feel like a kind of easy fix to that would just be kind of put up a black screen between the different dungeon areas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that effect after the quest, but during it,
yeah. Yeah.
Walter does not agree with that. A couple little things at the end of this. I'm just kind of reading off of what Walter said on the thread, because I did not get a chance to catch this campfire. Elder artifacts are hugely powerful. Yeah, we know that. We will be seeing, huh?
Jaz is the most powerful Elder God, and he created all of the Elder artifacts with the Stone of Jaz.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that's in the other campfire, though. So we'll get to that in just a moment. Armadil will be coming, quote unquote, sooner than you think. He's been preparing and will look pretty damn awesome. And Zeros will no doubt want revenge, though that may not come in the form you expect, because Soren did say revenge wasn't in Zeros' plans. So we'll see about that. Yeah. But anyways, that's that one campfire. Now for the good one. The Quests and Lores campfire. Walter has a full 4 pages of notes on this one. We can't cover all of it. We're gonna cover bits and pieces here and there. I mean, if there's something that anybody thinks that we just completely blatantly missed, I guess leave a comment somewhere and we'll discuss it maybe a little bit on the podcast in a couple weeks. But yeah. So where to start? I'll open the floor to you guys for this one.
Oh my gosh. It's hard to pick which is really the most interesting.
Well, I managed to get the first post on it this time. I was happy. I was on that thing, like, I just refreshed and I saw that it wasn't locking, I was like, what? And then I copy-pasted my questions. The first question I asked was that death is canon. I've always wanted to know that. And thankfully, it's not considered canon. Player death for me.
Yeah, they mentioned that, Walter says in the thread, player death is a game thing rather than a narrative thing. And, yeah.
How many lore debates I've gotten over that?
What would be, like, why would they make that canon? Like...
Because sometimes players like the idea of being resurrected because you have a fate. But that doesn't work when you have quests like Log Death Sleeps or...
Oh, I guess that's true.
Or Darkness of Polygon where you have to get your life saved and then people die for you.
That's true.
Just to still trick in the universe or something. It's happened like over 10 quests.
Yeah, it has happened quite a bit.
Half and forth, the guys at the time of the player got really scared. Like they're like actually worried. They actually thought they were gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
So should spoil it.
We're not worried about spoilers here. Like, if you're watching this, there's spoilers are not an issue.
Ooh, what spoilers?
Spoiler.
I had to try to make it canon, but now that the recent quote from Mod Johnny, I think even that isn't considered canon. It's just to kind of play it how you come back to life and respond to Soul Wars instead of Lumbridge.
Yeah.
Because even in that dialogue, the player says, it takes more than death to kill me, which is kind of a joke. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely is true. Then I guess we'll talk about a little bit about the Elder Gods and the Elder Artifacts, because that was definitely a topic of discussion. As Robo said earlier, Jas is clearly the most powerful. It says, quote unquote, for reasons they can't just divulge. So, yeah. But Jas created all of the Elder Artifacts.
The Snow Jas was
yeah.
first.
All? Oh. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
So Walter says almost all instead of all. What define almost?
Well, there's a few that he didn't create, that maybe some of the other gods created. But the Stone of the Jaws was the first.
Oh, that's true. Full made the kiln. And we lost Geena again. GG.
So, we know the name of the Elder Crown now.
Wait, which one's where's the Elder Crown? I'm trying to find this in the thread. Too many of these. Where are you, Elder Crown? Anyways, just go on while I find this.
Crown Archibald. Urkel Archibald.
Crown Archival.
Interesting. And then also in this, they mention, the Elder Gods are the source of all magic, and therefore are also the ultimate manifestation of magical power. Take that, Saradomin.
Yep.
So what happens if you kill one?
Yeah. And then,
With type magic?
where is it? They mention...
We need to mention the quote about Saradomin.
We're gonna do that, in just a moment. Okay, right here, Osborne mentions on killing Elder Gods, you can kill them, or rather, they can die, but they're not going to have a weak spot that can be hit, but you need more than their own artifacts to kill them. And the fact that they've discussed that raises interesting questions, and...
Yeah, Chekhov's gun or whatever.
Huh?
I don't know how to pronounce it, but Chekhov's gun or something. The idea that if something is possible or if something is said that can happen, it will happen.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely seems that way. Like, they've definitely put thought into that, so it'll be interesting if... But the Elder Gods would have to return to be able to do that, and I don't really see that happening. It might just be a theoretical thing.
The Elder Gods are going to be one of the 3 main storylines for the 6th Age.
Oh, that's true.
The other tree is the Sluiski one.
Then there's the Slisky and the Dragonkin, right?
Oh,
Or
yeah,
is the Dragonkin the Elder God?
The Dragonkin is probably the Elder God one.
Yeah,
they
probably.
hate Jaws.
It'll be interesting. And there was a question that says if Jazz is the stone, and Osborne says no, it is not herself, but you're right about the shape of it having some significance. And he also mentioned something about the artifacts having souls, the artifacts having
some sort of being.
Yeah, that's what it says. The Dragonkin are the only entities that are actually physically tied to an artifact. The Tok'ra are the artifact itself, not tied to it. I hear background stuff.
It's not me.
I think it's Geena. I'm not sure.
Wait, what? That noise.
I don't know. But anyways, Osborne says that there's a dev's comment to him that artifacts might have souls. So it does seem like, especially the Stone of Jazz, might have some kind of being to it because of the Dragonkin themselves. It's interesting. We'll see how that works out.
So Zach's theory is right, yeah.
Perhaps. I don't know what Zach's theory is.
Zach made a theory long ago when Rotten came out saying that the Stone of Jazz is sentient and has some kind of memory that you can tap into, kind of.
Maybe. Perhaps.
Every time someone touches it, they know more of it.
Isn't that we touched it and had the flashback with the ritual, right?
Yep. It also happened with Gothic 6.
Bless you.
It also happened with Gothic when he killed Skargaroth with the staff. Or not the staff, but the sword.
But Skargaroth wasn't the stone. Oh, I guess with the sword itself.
Yeah,
because that's an elder artifact. Okay.
When he killed him, he had the memory of the Ceridon and the Elder Crown and all that stuff.
Interesting. So there's a lot of good stuff here. Also, we should talk about is Zamorak. Apparently, is confirmed at the bottom of dungeon at Daemonheim.
Apparently, yeah, I heard Zamorak was the voices. Basically.
Zamorak, Zamorak is the source of the voices in Daemonheim. There's something else that. John A. says explicitly, it's worth noting that Zamorak, being at the bottom of Daemonheim, will likely wake to find a few followers that are available to him. I don't think the monsters of Daemonheim will stay there permanently.
I think it's kind of funny that people are thinking that Zamorak might be coming through the portal next to Lumbridge, and I'm thinking, you know how anticlimactic that would be? Zamorak makes this whole big show about being at the bottom of Daemonheim, but nope, just gonna pop up near Lumbridge.
What's up, guys?
Yeah.
I wonder if we mentioned he's mentioned that Armadil will show up sooner rather than later. I wonder if Armadil might pop through the portal.
Well, he wouldn't be the only one if that's so, because it's going to be a world event about the Battle of Lumbridge, and I just don't see Armadil and Ceridon fighting each other over Lumbridge.
Well, I mean, but who would they be fighting? Like, that's the question. Like, if it's not Zamorak, I mean, I don't think Slisky would be in any position. Why would he want? Why would he want to get his nose in there? I mean, maybe the Godless.
But Bandos, I think, would really have a good reason to attack Lumbridge, seeing as he hates the Dervish and they're kind of there.
Oh, I guess that's true. Forgot about him.
Yeah, the goblins will probably have fun.
Yeah. And that is a hotbed. That is a hotbed for, like, the kind of goblin activity, if you will.
It'd be kind of funny if, hypothetically, the goblins won, the current situation of goblins going over the river would be switched.
But that's interesting. I never thought about that. It could be a Bandos thing. But I do wonder if Armadillo will pop out of that portal or show up at some point because of said portal.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Not be the only one though, but he might come back at the same time.
He says, and speaking of Armadillo, in these notes it says, we have some fantastic plans for Armadillo, but he won't come back with revenge in mind. Yeah, it's worth noting that he has changed, and quite fundamentally, it will even alter his visuals. I can't talk right now. It seems like they've been doing a lot with Armadillo, and they're definitely planning out. There's definitely going to be a focus on him soon.
Nice.
Yeah, it will be nice.
I wonder what they mean by changes his visuals when you've never seen him before.
Yeah. I mean, but we know generally what he looks like-ish, because is he an Avianzi, or is just... Did he come from was he originally an Avianzi? Kind of like Guthix was originally an Naragi?
Maybe. I mean, they did say that the younger gods can't create a race by themselves. So that means Armadillo didn't create the Avianzis.
Walter says he is now a fish.
Yeah, change fundamentally. Just go from being a bird to a fish.
Evolution at work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, okay, so there's that. The gods are being treated as very powerful mortals rather than transcendent, which brings up the fun little tidbit that has to be said, and I'm going to quote this this word for word. Who is this? Was this Mod Osborne that said it?
No, it was Mod Johnny.
Yeah.
It was Mod who?
John A.
Oh, it was Mod John A that says this. He says, I think there's an interesting contrast to be made between the myths that mortals could have built up while the gods have been absent, and the way gods really are. Going back to the thought that they're being treated as very powerful mortals. Ceredomonists in particularly have come up with an elaborate theology about Ceredomin as the all-powerful being transcendent lord of the universe, when really it turns out he's just a big blue guy who can do lots of magic. It's just,
oh boy.
I love that quote.
Splash!
Yeah, and then at the end of The World Wakes, the epic splash. I need to make that absolutely has to be as a picture. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Ceredomin.
Yeah, I actually had the whole splash animation.
Splash it's the only splash that's still in the game.
Yeah.
Go on. Orange sounded like you wanted to say something.
I'm saying, yeah, it's like, you hear all these people, like, talking about, how Ceredomin is, he created the universe, created pretty much everything, and then it's really just, this blue giant who knows magic.
I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
It's really, it's just like everything. I mean, I almost feel sorry for poor Jess Surtees who just entered the chat. Like everything that seems to have been known about Ceredomin is just kind of being flipped on its head. I mean, it's kind of funny, because those of us who kind of pay attention to the undertones of a lot of this stuff have kind of realized for a while, Ceredomin's kind of just a huge asshole. And doesn't really care about anything except himself. But yeah, it's interesting in that way. It's just that quote is just great.
Yeah.
Just a big blue guy that can do lots of magic.
Yeah.
And wave your hands and splash.
Yep.
Anyways, yes, because, penguins, Mod Raven mentioned something about the ghost penguin, and it says, and in true Mod Raven fashion, the penguins are a little more devious than perhaps people give them credit for. And remember that under all the silliness and enormous war machines of doom trademark, the penguins have actually lived a fairly tragic existence. And he's saying, think of the ghost penguin itself as like a solid snake, and that the mission is what's important at any cost. So because we have to have our obligatory penguin reference, as well as they mentioned that the penguins might be in the dwarf quest. Because the penguin enlisting the dwarves to help with their quote unquote war machines of doom trademark. I love that trademark.
Those dwarves are helping the penguins actually left Red Axe because they felt that Kerrigan was being too slow at what he was doing, and the penguins seemed to be more enthusiastic.
Well, I mean, keep in mind that the Red Axe has all the bureaucracy, and the penguins are just penguins. They're just like they're like the jihadists of Gielinor, which is hilarious, but it's kind of true. But so you have that. A couple more things we'll mention before we start wrapping this up. We're about an hour now, and I really don't want to go much over that.
Tolna's Rift.
I'm gonna say I'll give the one sentence thing about that. Tolna's Rift rework confirmed. Okay. Anyways, we'll talk a little bit about the Majorat. There's Khazard and Haziel is slated to appear in upcoming content. Perhaps Slisky's quest, maybe one of these world events. Don't know.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Mm-hmm. You mentioned that the way you said that Xanax going to gain some followers, and that the beings and the monsters of Damonheim aren't going to be there forever. That makes me wonder if the bosses inside Damonheim might show up at the events themselves. Like, just imagine World Gorger just flying around.
I've never actually personally seen World Gorger, but I wouldn't want to see any of those stalkers out on the surface. Just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, it'd be disgusting, first of all, but
yeah. Hi, flesh spoiler. Hi.
Yeah.
Just like just see him walking around the bank. Train for a walk.
Yep.
Them eyes. But yeah, the stalkers, or not even flesh spoiler isn't even the worst one. It's I can't remember. It's the abandoned floor stalker. What is its name?
Oh, Shadow Forger?
No. Oh wait, no. Oh, Furnished. Sorry, Furnished. The Furnished Floors one.
Night Gazer?
Oh,
yeah, the Night Gazer.
Yeah, Night Gazer.
Probably a little more.
That one's the one that's kind of like...
It's just gross.
I mean, sure, flesh spoiler throws its eye at you, but... I mean, I don't know. Like, the stalkers in general as, like, on the main world is just like, ugh.
Yeah, even seeing like a sneaker peeper, it's kind of like,
What about Blink?
Oh dear God. Blink versus Saradomin. Who wins?
Blink would just be a little troll.
I know. They're both little guys. They're both guys that can just do magic. That can just like throw magic at you. I mean, magic in your face.
Oh God.
Saradomin spam splashes on Blink because Mage straight up does not work. Or it didn't before. It didn't the last time I tried.
My God. Now it's like we have to find someone that can make an animated video of that.
Oh my God.
Blink screwing around and Saradomin failing at everything.
Oh man. Serotonin spam splash is on board. Thank you, Geena, for that. Oh my god.
I feel sorry for any Serotonin listening right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. But, and yeah, I guess one more quick thing. We didn't mention this when we were talking about the Elder Gods earlier, but the Elder Gods created the Animon Mundi, and only Jas is a true user of the stone, which means that all gods are false users. Even we are a false user. I guess there has to be some kind of delineation between the amount of falseness, because the Dragonkin sure don't seem like they want to destroy us. It might be how we use it. It might depend on, but everybody's a false user, which is interesting. And yes, Geena says, random Dragonkin fireball here. Oh yeah, and I forgot those two things. Two more things about the Majorat, since we're kind of going in circles now. There's no more hidden Majorat, or we don't think there's any more hidden Majorat on Gielinor. But there's certainly other Majorat who still reside on Freniskay, since they're an entire species. Clearly Ali the Wise got it wrong. And also the crystal in a Majorat's forehead is very important. It has implications for their creation. It's not the reason for... They're based on liches, but it's not the reason for it being on the forehead. But striking it will not kill it. And I think that, yeah.
Good thing, because we would have killed Karsha.
Yeah, I don't think that, yeah.
Maybe it's like a belly button.
It's like a what?
A belly button.
What?
So if only they have belly buttons, maybe that's happened to Majorat.
They have belly buttons on their heads. Okay.
Hey, you never know.
Seems legit. And yes, the obligatory Farmer Fred reference is here. Clearly Ali the Wise got this one wrong because of Farmer Fred. Anyways. Anyways. No? Walter says no. And that meme, really?
Yes.
Oh, he says there were no others. Apparently Ali the Wise says there were no others in a post bag. So, Ali the Wise, you are wrong. Anyways, unless anybody has anything else to say about really any of this, I think we are set to wrap it up. I don't see anything else on the thread that we need to cover. Am I missing anything? Did I completely miss that section or something?
While
Oh!
He's and Karshai are in content.
Before we go, I don't actually have the exact quote of this, but Lime got trolled hard by Maud Raven.
Oh yeah.
Walter has the quote. Okay.
Yes.
It's
it's amazing.
It's great. It somehow didn't make it into the thread. Probably because Lime was here when he made the thread. He was trying to keep us from saying it, but
he's away. Now we can talk about it.
Now we can hurry up. He's not here. We can talk about him now.
He'll still watch this and be like, "Come on, you guys."
He will be.
Howard troll us all to death.
It's kind of like, okay. Oh, here we go. So he asked the 5 questions. Lime's post is, I have seen you're asking one question per post, and I shall instead post 5. He has something about the Second Age, something about the Majorat when they're facing the Void, something regarding monkeys in the pirate quests, as well as Marimbo's parties, and is there a super secret city-sized Dayalt refinery under Mauritania that is run by vampires and has a population of human slave workers? Answer carefully, there's GP on the line. Okay. The answers to these are, for the first one, the one regarding Second Age, how dare you, my mother is a saint. The answer to the Majorat facing the void, only on Tuesdays and not on a full moon. The answer to what are the monkeys doing in the pirate quests, Mini Marm isn't secretly Guthix in a wig. Sorry. The answer to, is there a super secret city-sized Dayalt refinery? No, Mod Osborne will not let you have a piggyback. You are a plant. Learn some decorum.
This was all written as if he was talking to his potted plant on his desk.
The answer to number 5 of Marimbo's parties. Yes, you are quite right. Mod Raven is the most awesome of the J-Mods. You are a wise and learned pot plant. Mod Raven starts his post by saying, I see you are asking 5 questions instead of 1 and shall instead answer the questions posed to me by this pot plant in front of me. Of course there is an answer number 6 that is Thok's Fists. Because Thok's Fists solve every problem.
Yes.
Insert Thok Fists.
Like the duct tape of RuneScape just solves everything.
Yeah, Thok's Fists do solve all problems. Is a level 10 prayer door? Nope. Thok's Fists say no.
Thok's Fists are no to level 10.
Thok's Fists have higher than 10 prayer. Anyways, so yeah, I think now that we have sufficiently made fun of Lime, the pot plant. Oh my god. It's so great. Anyways, yeah, I think now that we've covered that rather important topic of discussion, I believe we are done here. We will be back in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks or so, with another edition of the Seercast, talking about the release of RuneScape 3 and the then newly released world event, which is going to be the Battle of Lumbridge. So, yes, there's a full. I'm going to actually post this full quote into the podcast video. So I guess for everybody still watching, thanks for listening, whether it be on Podbean or on YouTube. Subscribe to either one or both. I think they should be cross-linked. And I believe we will see you in about 2.5 weeks. So,
and also the Twitter page is finally functional.
Oh yes, and there's Twitter for us, and it is just at Seercast, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So, follow us there as well. From all of us, thanks for listening, and we will see you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.